going on, everybody? Welcome. Good morning to College Football Mornings. I am excited to be here Friday morning with you guys. We're going to be talking a lot about high school football typically on these Fridays. Sometimes we'll jump in and talk about some of the Thursday games. Obviously, next week in week one, we have a massive Thursday slate. There's like 12 games on there, a couple really good ones. Penn State, Purdue really stands out the top of my mind as one of the better games. So we'll definitely talk about those games, scores, injuries, but I do want to focus on this being more of another high school show. Watching this Friday morning, Friday afternoon. There will also be a likely late night Friday show called Friday Night Lights. Might drop really early Saturday mornings as well. Just talking about the games that happens again. When we talk about college football, CFF Dynasty, C2C leagues, just like Dynasty leagues, you want to know who's coming next. And so for this, I really kind of want to focus in on some of the high school games and teams. So tonight, or last night, Thursday night, I'm sorry, Lake Travis played a really close game, actually, against Martin, Texas, and they lost 39-31. Bo Edmondson of Lake Travis, a quarterback who I saw at the Dallas Regional Elite 11 competition, looked fairly good, trying to follow in the footsteps of a lot of really good quarterbacks who have actually come out of Lake Travis, including Clay Klubnik of late, Baker Mayfield, Nick Foles, Drew Brees. They've got a really good track record of developing high school quarterbacks. He is considered to be one, not very highly rated, but I thought looked fairly good again in the regional. But they did lose last night 39-31. Moving forward, though, we have an incredible group of games this weekend. A lot of these teams are scheduling better and better opponents, a lot like college football, and preparing their teams and players for the high school season. And again, great matchups. So right now you have the number one ranked team in the nation, St. John Bosco High School out of California, fairly well known, one of the more famous high schools. They have two really high end recruits as well that are going on the offensive side of things for us. And Pierce Clarkson, one of the top rated quarterbacks, and DeAndre Moore, one of the top rated wide receivers, both also going to Louisville, are coming to Texas to play in the Tom Landry Classic, playing Allen, Texas, who is also a top-ranked school. They are 13th in the nation, so a number 1 versus 13 matchup. Going to be a really good game. A guy that you want to be watching in for on Allen here is Michael Hawkins. He is the quarterback for Allen. He's a 2024 kid. He's considered down here to be like the next Kyler Murray. I don't know. I don't like making comps, so I don't know that I'd go that far, but he is a kid that I'm definitely looking forward to watching. He's going to be, at least in my opinion, one of the top quarterbacks in the 2024 class. The next matchup, you've got the number 2 team in Mater Dei, who just played last weekend and blew their opponent out, going up against the number 6 team, Mater Dei in Santa Ana, California. Bishop Gorman, Las Vegas, the number 6 team in the nation. They just went out and beat Corner Canyon, one of the better schools of the past, or high schools of the past couple years. They put in Zach Wilson, Devin Brown, and they also have Isaac Wilson, Zach Wilson's older brother at Corner Canyon. Bishop Gorman pretty much routed them last week. That is going to be a really good game as well on Friday night at 7 o'clock. Same with the St. John Bosco at Allen game. The number 3 team in the nation, St. Francis Academy, gets East St. Louis, but another big game. IMG Academy, we know, gets a lot of these great players. The number 4 team in the nation is going up against the number 14 team in Central Miami. That should be a really good game as well. Westlake, Texas, in Austin gets Ridgepoint, Missouri City. They are the number 7 team in the nation. Another really highly rated team. They have played 2 weeks in a row, been very good. Buford in Georgia, they're the number 10th ranked team in the nation. They have one of the top running backs, my current running back too, in Justice Haynes, going to Alabama. He will be playing in that game. North Shore, the number 11 ranked team in the nation, they won earlier last night, Thursday night. They won 49-21 against the Woodlands. Duncanville, Texas gets South Oak Cliff in Dallas this weekend, the number 15 team in Duncanville. That should be a really good game. And then Denton Geyer, they won last night 47-14 over Rockwall. Denton Geyer, who has one of the top quarterbacks in the nation. I believe he's actually a top 5 quarterback right now. In Jackson Arnold, he is, I am sorry, I am completely messing that up. It is not Jackson Arnold. So we're just going to skip that. But regardless, I messed that up. I do apologize. But they did win. They are still one of the top ranked schools in the nation. They win 47-14. Just a really, really good game for them. But the other major game here, we know, as I mentioned, St. John Bosco against Allen, I think probably going to be, I think it's fair to say, the game of the weekend outside of this one. American Heritage versus Los Alamitos, California. So Los Alamitos, Malachi Nelson, Makai Lemon, two of the top offensive players in this class. Malachi Nelson, and here I am thinking of this. Jackson Arnold does go to Denton Geyer, so I was right about that. Anyways, 47-14, he had a good game. Apologies. Back to the game that matters. Malachi Nelson, my quarterback, won by a decent margin over Dante Moore, who also plays Friday night tonight in Indy. I don't think that the game will be televised, unfortunately, but if you can find it, I would be really intrigued to see how Dante Moore does. Really amazing kid. Number 2 quarterback in the class for me. Malachi Nelson, easily the number 1 quarterback in the nation for me. 5-star kid going to USC. I think is just bound for greatness. He's a really good quarterback. Makai Lemon, listed as an athlete, likely going to play wide receiver. He's a top guy for me as well. I believe I have him listed as a top. He's a tier 1 guy for me right now. He is my wide receiver 4 in this class. Like, again, athlete, he plays defensive back and wide receiver. Actually played defensive back a little bit last weekend. Had some really good catches. I think he's going to be a phenomenal player as well for them. Going up against American Heritage in Florida. American Heritage, the number 19th team in the nation right now. Los Alamitos, the number 25. American Heritage has Brandon Ennis, wide receiver, going to Ohio State, top 4 or 5 guy in almost all the recruiting services. He is actually a little bit lower for me, but based on what he just did this past weekend, he may jump up. He's actually wide receiver 5 for me. So, like, not super low. He's right below Malachi Lemon in my grading system. Possibly could jump up after the game he just had there. I mean, it was a great game. If you follow me on Twitter, you saw the play that I posted of him mossing a defensive back. He also had a really nice 60-yard play, had over 200 plus purpose yards. Like, he just had an amazing game. And then you also get Fletcher, the running back there, who's also going to Ohio State. This is going to be probably, at least in my opinion, the game of the weekend. And they actually play on Saturday during everything going on with college football's week 0. The game will be televised on ESPN2. I will be tuned into this. I will not probably be watching the college games. I think this has a chance to be an amazing game, probably one of the better high school games we're going to get this year. Cannot wait to watch these 4 guys. You know, I'm really high on 3 of them. Fletcher, he falls a little bit for me, if I'm being honest, at the running back position, but he is listed as a top 11 guy in the consensus, or in their consensus rankings between the 3 of them. In the composite ranking is what they call it. I don't know why I say consensus. It's early. I have full transparency in recording this at 3:00 in the morning, guys. I've got to go. I start very early for my job. So recording this a little bit early. So it's a little bit early. I keep messing stuff up, is what it is. We don't edit here at Campus to Can. But he's a little bit lower in the composite ranking, and he's a little bit even lower for me in my RB ranking. Still really good. Not a great junior film, in my opinion, but he looks really good in that first game for American Heritage last week. They played one of the top schools in Georgia and just destroyed him. Brandon Ennis and Fletcher had really good games. I am excited to watch this game, and we will be talking about all of them again. Follow. I mentioned this on the last Friday Night Lights episode. Follow David at Solving Football. Follow Matt at Big Wide Receiver Guy. The 3 of us will be putting in a ton of work this Friday night, watching all these high school games, and obviously the American Heritage one on Saturday. We'll be bringing you guys highlights. We'll be talking about what these kids are doing, because we want you guys to stay as up to date as possible on what's going on with all of these kids. So you don't have to go 24/7 Sports, On 3, Rivals, ESPN. You come to us for everything, because we're looking at this from the fantasy side of things. And, well, we were been pretty right on some of these guys when it comes to the college football side too. Quinshawn Judkins, we've actually called a lot of these players pretty right on the guys that have ended up hitting so far. Talon Cetron is the guy that we had up there. Keon Grays. actually been pretty good on some of the hits and what we've said on these guys that might not be quite as good as other people are saying. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is our first week of college football mornings. We'll be back every single weekday throughout the season, bringing you guys all the college football stuff, recruiting news when that happens, and high school stuff as well. And make sure to check us out tomorrow as week 0 does kick off. We will be back with the tailgate. Just for week 0, we will be live at 11 a.m. Eastern. We will only have a 1-hour show for week 0. So there's not a lot of games, but then moving forward, it'll be at 10 a.m. Eastern every single college football weekend as we give you guys 2 hours of live football pregame coverage. Guys, thank you guys so much. Enjoy your Fridays and enjoy